I'd now like to add some labels and some fields and titles to this report. I'm just going to scroll up towards the top. In the report header section, we need to see a title that says Results Report. Now on the Report Design Tools Design tab, in this Controls group here, there's a button here, AA, which is designed to add labels or text to your report. I'm going to click this button and then I'm going to click in the Report Header section. And I'm going to type the title, Results Report. Now this really needs to be a little bit bigger and bolder and really stand out. So I'm going to go to the Format tab. And here I'm going to change the font to Arial. And make it bold, and make it black, and increase the size to maybe 14. I'm then going to double click one of the little handles around the outside so that it best fits to show me exactly all the text in the report title. I'm then going to bring this panel up because this only needs to be as high as the label. I'd also like to get rid of the colour in the background here, so I'm going to click on this background and I'm going to hit the bucket here and choose a white background so that I don't have a blue background in this area. Now in the page header I'd like to add some more labels. So I'm going to go back to my Report Design Tools Design section or tab. And I'm going to hit the AA again and I'm going to click in the page header. And here I'd like to see the text full name. I'd also like it to be Arial, so I'll go back to the Format tab and I'll change it to Arial and black and bold, and I'll take it down to 10 points. And I'll best fit it by double clicking one of the handles around the outside. Now to save myself a little bit of time, I actually need another 1, 2, 3, 4 labels. So I'm going to click on full name and I'm going to press Ctrl C, which is copy, and then I'll press Ctrl V 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I can grab this particular control here and move it, and then I can edit what's in it just by clicking and to replace the text with assignment description. I'll grab the next copy and move it. I'll click in it and replace the text with score. Actually, I need to put a little colon on the end of each one as well. So I'm just clicking and editing each box. The next box I'll move and I'll replace the text with % of grade and a colon. And lastly, I'll move this particular label and I'll replace the text with student grade. Now I can widen my report as long as I stay within the boundaries of A4. So I might take it to about 18 centimeters just on that horizontal ruler. Also this needs to be widened, so I'm just going to stretch it. And then I'm going to double click one of its placeholders around the outside so it does a best fit. I'll just move them out a little bit and I'll come and fix them up later when I've got their partners. Assignment description I'll make quite wide. I also need to make full name wide, so I might do that as well. So just roughly I've got those sorted and I'll come back to them. What I'd like to do now is also add some labels to the full name footer. This is where we have our formulas, and I'm just going to move those a little to the right, and I just lassoed them, which means just to drag through them like this and pick them up, and that means you can move them as a group. I'm then going to take a copy of this particular description, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I'll drag that into the full name footer. I'll then edit this label to say student result. And I might make it right align, so I'll click it and I'll right align it with this particular align right button on the Format tab in the ribbon. I'll then take a copy of that, Ctrl C, I'll lasso these guys and move them over, and I'll click in the report footer and Ctrl V to paste, and I'll call that overall result. And I'm not too tied up with the placement of things at this stage. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to grab some fields, And to do this, I need to go to the Report Design Tools Design tab, and I need to click the Add Existing Fields button. And here are my fields here. What I'd like to grab are all the fields, but I'm going to start with full name. I'm going to drag full name into the full name header. Now when I do so, this is the field on the right and this is the label on the left, but I already have a label up here in my page header, so I'm going to delete the label and just keep the field. If I click on the label and press the delete key, I've got rid of the label, and I want to put full name, the field, just about there. And again, I may resize it so it's about that wide. The other fields I want to grab are assignment description, and I'll hold the shift key so that I can then click student grade and get all 4 of them. I'll then drag all 4 of them into the details section, and just like the full name, they've all got labels, so I'm going to lasso these 4 labels and press the delete key because I don't want the labels. I'll then move the fields to approximately here so they're roughly underneath their headings. The other thing I'll do is I'll actually resize the height of some of these sections. I'm just going to bring the page header section up a bit, the full name header section up a bit, the details section up a lot, and bring up the full name footer, leave the page footer I think, and bring up the report footer. So you can also resize the sections. So that's a little exercise, actually introduced us to the field and the field labels, moving things, and now what I want to look at is aligning things and getting things nicely sized and spaced out. Let's start with the right hand side. Here is the label student grade, here is the field student grade, and here are some calculations based on student grade. I'm just going to drag and lasso up through the middle of these 4. And I want them to all be the exact same width. So for this I'm going to go to the Arrange tab in the ribbon. And if I go the Align button, I'll start with the Size and Space button. I want to basically size them to the widest. So I'm going to choose to widest. They're now all equal width. And now I'll align the selected group to the right. And so now they're all perfectly aligned to the right and all exactly the same width. And I'm going to repeat that for now this 4. I'm just going to drag up through the middle of them, make them all the same width, so I'll size and space to the widest, and then I'll align to the right. The same with the score. I'm just going to go up through the scores, size them to the widest, and align them to the right. Now when it comes to assignment description, yes, I will actually select these 4 here and I'll make them to the widest, even though they're differing pieces of information. Make them to the widest. No. Undo, which is the little button on your quick access toolbar, or Control Z. The problem there is I actually included full name in that selection. So what I want to do is I actually want to select this range here, but then hold the Control key and exclude full name because it's too wide. Now I'll turn around and size them to the widest and align them to the right. What I'd now like to do is to align this group in the page header section to the top. So I'm just going to drag down the vertical ruler and select everything within that range. I'll then go to the Align button and align those controls to the top. And now they're all nicely aligned to the top. It means I can bring this little section up a bit, and that's that group there sorted. Full name I'm happy with. I'm just going to check that this set of controls in this range is also aligned to the top. This range here, I'm not only going to align them to the top, but I'm also going to fix the fact that they're different heights. So I'm going to size them to the tallest and then align them to the top. And I'll do the same to this group here. So I'll click once on the vertical ruler, I'll size them to the tallest, and I'll align them to the top. Lovely. Now I may want to check how my report's actually looking at this stage. I may want to preview my report. So if I go to the Home tab in the ribbon and I click the drop down on the View button, I can choose Print Preview. And this is what my report looks like so far. Here you can see at the head of each group is my full name header, and at the foot of each student's full name are the average score, the average percent of grade, and the average student grade. Here you can see everything's lined up nicely, the assignment description, the score, the percent, and the student grade. And it just goes down nicely for each student. And I can move between the pages using these little triangles. If I get to the last page, at the report footer, I can see the overall result. And if I go back to the first page, I can see the header in the report header. So I'm just going to close out a print preview, and there's a few other things I need to tidy. Some of the things I need to tidy, for example, is how the actual score is appearing here. I may want to format that to 0 decimal places. So I'll close print preview, I'll click on this particular score here, and I'll bring up the property sheet. And here is the formula that says it's the average of the score. I'm going to click in the format property and say, can we format that to fixed and set the decimal places to 0. And I'm going to do the same for this average score. Set it to fixed, the format property gets set to fixed, and the decimal places get set to 0. And I'm just going to print preview my report and just see how that looks. And that looks a lot better. And if I go to the last page, that looks a lot better. So I'm happy with the format of my numbers, and I'm pretty much happy with everything that I see there. So I'm going to close print preview.